Two women are in a motorhome on their way to the West Coast when they get into an accident. The driver, an older woman named Fran, gets dizzy while driving due to her cancer and hits the car. They end up in a small town with friendly people willing to help them. Fran has to go to the hospital, and Daphne, her goddaughter and companion, is nervous about the crash. Daphne is a young, pretty woman who loves reading more than anything. Fran and her husband, Frederick, adopted her when her parents passed away in a car accident. She feels as if she owes Fran for taking care of her when she had no one, so she follows the older woman wherever she goes. Fran has terminal cancer and one of her last wishes is to spread her late husband's ashes on the West Coast. They have been traveling for a long time and Daphne works on her PhD thesis to pass the time. Fran is stubborn and doesn't want to stay in the hospital, even though she needs it. If it was up to her, she would be on the road again. Seeing Daphne lost and scared for her godmother, a handsome man named Matt offers to give her a ride to the hospital. Matt is also a mechanic and he tows the motorhome to his garage after dropping Daphne off. While in the hospital, Daphne tries to make Fran give up on driving. The stubborn woman refuses. She doesn't want to spend the rest of her days in bed, waiting as she slowly passes away. She prefers to go on adventures, and Daphne goes with her. Fran knows that is going to be her last trip, and she wants Daphne to find someone to love so that she isn't alone when Fran passes away. The issue is that Daphne follows Fran like a shadow and she refuses to have any social life. She always says that she prefers books to real life, and she can't stop reading and working on her thesis, which bothers Fran a lot. Fran has to rest at the hospital for a bit and she jokingly asks the doctor if there aren't any single men to date Daphne while they wait. Daphne is used to her godmother's antics and pretends she doesn't hear it. Leaving Fran at the hospital, she has to find out what happened with their motorhome. Surprisingly, when she's leaving the hospital, Matt is waiting for her outside. He explains that he's going to fix her motorhome, but she can still sleep in it if she wants to. When Daphne replies she does, he offers to give her a ride there. On the way, she tells him how worried she is about Fran and how tough she pretends to be to save face. She knows Fran isn't as well as she likes to pretend, but there's no reasoning with her. The woman was a lawyer and she always wins her cases. She also tells Matt that Fran is her godmother and she took her in when her parents passed away. She's grateful to her and Frederick for giving her love and a home. Now she has to face the pain of losing her right after she lost Frederick too. Daphne doesn't know what she's going to do once Fran passes away. Matt tries to take her mind off Fran and her worries by saying that the town is friendly and nice to stay in. The next day, while Matt works in the motorhome, Daphne subtly watches him. He's quite handsome and she enjoys watching him fixing the engine under the sun. It's almost like a scene from the romances she loves reading. She's writing her thesis and Matt wonders what it is about. She explains that it's about the economic structure in Jane Austen's works and how women lived back then. Matt has never heard of Jane Austen and he has no idea what she's talking about. He's more of a car magazine kind of person and he rarely reads. Daphne doesn't mind his ignorance. She loves talking about her favorite author and eagerly explains Jane Austen's romance and how she figured out love better than anyone. He jokingly says that he needs some help because it's been a long time since he dated someone. Matt is very family-oriented and he always took care of his little sister Brittany and their mother. For that reason, he barely had time to date and meet new people. Daphne is in a similar situation to Fran, though Fran never asked her to give up her life for her. Daphne suggests Matt reads Pride and Prejudice and he agrees with her. While talking to Matt, Daphne suddenly realizes that she opened up more to him than anybody else. She feels uncomfortable with that and tries to change the subject, asking how much she owes him for fixing the motorhome. He dismisses her and says that she can teach him all about Jane Austen. Maybe that way he will finally understand love and find someone. Daphne is bashful and she doesn't know what to say. It's obvious Matt is interested in her by the way he keeps sending smoldering looks in her direction, but she's too afraid of trying anything. Later on, while Daphne is sitting on Matt's swing and reading, a pretty woman appears. Daphne watches as Matt talks to her intimately, and she's surprised when he takes a toddler from the back of the car. Subtly watching the couple, she feels disappointed that Matt is already taken. She thinks the woman is his wife and the baby his daughter, but she's sorely mistaken. When the woman leaves, Matt carries the toddler toward Daphne. While she plays with the little girl, she tries to find out if the woman is Matt's wife, but he corrects her and explains that the woman is Brittany, his younger sister, and the toddler is Emma, his niece. Daphne feels embarrassed by her disappointment earlier and how wrong her conclusions were. As they watch Emma playing, Matt tells her that their mother passed away a few months back and they are still getting back on their feet after such a loss. He also was abandoned by his father, a wound that is still open to this day. For that reason, Matt always took care of his mother and sister, being the man of the house until Brittany got married. Daphne is surprised that he has a similar story to her. She wasn't abandoned, but she also struggled without her parents after the accident, and she knows how hard it is to feel alone. It makes her admire Matt even more, especially because he loves his family so much. Matt goes to the library to find the book Daphne suggested to him. There he meets Judy, a librarian who has a major crush on Matt. She shows him the book and tries flirting with him, but Matt isn't interested. The only woman in his mind is Daphne, and he's excited to tell her he is going to read Pride and Prejudice. As for Daphne, her life is a bit more complicated because Fran was finally released from the hospital and she was acting difficult. She wanted to travel right away, against the doctor's recommendations, and Daphne keeps trying to change her mind. She threatens that she isn't going to go with Fran, but instead of falling for it, Fran takes Daphne's favorite book and drops coffee on it. She tells Daphne that she has to stop worrying so much and start living a little. Matt arrives right at this moment and he's confused to see the women fighting. Daphne is upset that Fran is being so difficult and she destroys her book. Matt notices that she's sad and helps her clean the book a little, comforting her. Fran lectures him when she sees him giving Daphne the book, and says that she has to do more than read and keep her head in the clouds. Daphne is embarrassed and lost at what to do. Fran is too stubborn and she wants to go as soon as possible. She doesn't even care if the motorhome is ready to go or not. The only way Fran would change her mind is if Daphne had a good reason to stay. That gives Daphne a not-so-brilliant idea. She approaches Matt and tells him that she's sad that their romance is going to be cut short because she has to go back with Fran. Matt is confused, and Fran is suspicious of Daphne, but she continues with her theater, even kissing Matt to make it look more real. When Fran sees it, she completely changes her mood. She isn't impatient anymore and treats Matt well, even inviting him to drink lemonade. Poor Matt has no idea what he's got into, but he goes with the flow. In the motorhome, Fran acts as if nothing happened and she wasn't throwing a tantrum minutes before. Matt is very uncomfortable. Daphne acts as if they are dating, and when she mentions that she's going away, Fran says that they won't because she needs rest. It's true, but the reason she decided to stay is because Daphne finally found someone to love. Daphne tells her that Matt has to go and they both leave the motorhome and Fran. When they're away, Daphne explains to Matt what's going on and apologizes for her behavior. She explains that if Fran thinks she's in a relationship, she won't try so hard to leave. Matt kisses her again when he notices Fran watching them with suspicion, and then accepts to fake date Daphne to help her out. Daphne is very thankful to him, and a bit dizzy after kissing him so many times. The situation may be strange, but kissing Matt wasn't. Matt thinks so too. He's attracted to Daphne and finds her beautiful, both inside and outside. He sees in her the same love he holds for his family and respects that. Daphne promises she's going to explain everything better and Matt asks her out for ice cream. It's their first unofficial date and they are both excited about it. Later on, before they meet, Matt sees a Jane Austen novel in a bookstore and buys it for Daphne. When they meet, they share their ice cream and Daphne is so excited about the novel that she hugs Matt again. They talk about relationships and Daphne explains that she never had a serious relationship. She knows it bothers Fran. She's afraid Daphne is going to be lonely when she passes away and keeps trying to make her go out. Daphne never had time to find the love of her life, and if they weren't up to the standards of the heroes from her romances, she wasn't interested. Matt tells her that he can teach her to drive if she wants to. It would make their life easier. Daphne explains that she's terribly afraid of driving, but Matt insists that it's important for her to know, for safety reasons. He promises to be nice, and she finally accepts it. The rest of the date goes smoothly and they even take a picture to show Fran that they are together. When they part ways, Daphne is on cloud nine and Matt is eager to get to know her more. He goes to his sister's place because they are having a barbecue and Brittany is curious about Daphne. Matt explains the whole situation to her and Brittany is surprised that her closed-off brother went on a date with Daphne. Matt has barely dated and it was all because his attention was on raising her and helping their mother after their father abandoned them. They also lived in a small town with few people they didn't know. Daphne is new and fresh, and maybe she's the one to sweep Matt off his feet. Back to Daphne, she's at the motorhome reading her new book when Fran reminds her that she has a date with Matt. It's a lie Daphne came up with to work on her thesis without Fran bothering her. She quickly gets ready, pretending she's meeting Matt, and goes to the library to study instead. There she meets Judy and she already knows about Daphne dating Matt. She tells Judy that Matt has never left town and that his dream is to meet a girl from out of town to fall in love with. It's surprising for Daphne, and she's bashful that Judy seems to think that girl is her, but being in a relationship is the least she wants. Matt is great. He's handsome, kind, and smart, but Daphne thinks their lives are too different. She's far away from him and she has Fran to worry about. She's sure that nothing will come from her fake dating Matt. Meanwhile, Matt is at home reading Pride and Prejudice and thinking about Daphne. He can't get her out of his mind, her pretty smile and how smart she is. She is everything Matt ever wanted in a girl. He just hoped he could make her like him enough. Fran is already sleeping when Daphne gets home. She watches her for a moment, not knowing that Fran is dreaming about her beloved Frederick. Fran was a successful lawyer and she got an opportunity to work in another state. Frederick loved her too much and he wanted to be with her forever. He proposed to her that day and Fran decided to choose love instead of her career, and it was the best choice of her life. That's what she wants Daphne to do. She wants her to stop thinking only about her books and studies and go after love. The following day, Daphne goes to Matt's place to ask him to teach her to drive. It's a great opportunity for them to spend some time together and get to know each other better. Daphne is nervous about driving and the consequences of her trauma, but Matt is patient and thoughtful with her. He pushes the car without it being on so that Daphne can get the feel of it first. He's tired and sweaty at the end, but seeing Daphne so happy is worth it. Later on, Daphne tells Fran what Matt did to help her and Fran is shocked. It's at that moment she realizes Matt must be serious about Daphne. In the evening, Matt picks Daphne up to go to dinner with his family. It's his birthday and Brittany is preparing a small celebration for him. He didn't warn his family about it and Daphne is nervous about meeting them. She's worried they are going to think they are dating, but Matt calms her because his sister knows the truth. Daphne gets along well with Brittany and her husband. It's only Matt's nephew who keeps pestering her with questions that make her uncomfortable. The celebration goes well and Brittany tells them she's going to have another baby, which makes Matt happy. When his sister asks about what she's studying, they don't seem to think it's interesting enough. But Matt comes to Daphne's rescue and explains that her work is excellent. Daphne is surprised by the way he explains her thesis. It shows he paid attention to what she was saying when she explained it to him. It makes her warm and happy. Later on, they spend some time together before Daphne goes back to the motorhome and she wonders about his overprotectiveness with Brittany. Matt is uncomfortable talking about it and mentions that it's related to his father. Daphne notices that he doesn't want to talk about it, but she doesn't mind. Matt points out that Daphne didn't seem comfortable with family get-togethers and it's time for her to feel awkward. She explains that Fran had a daughter named Hannah, and they were best friends. The day her parents passed away from the accident, Hannah was in the car with them, on their way to a recital that Daphne couldn't go to because she was sick. Hannah passed away in the accident too, and Daphne feels guilty that Fran lost her daughter and had to adopt her. She sees herself as a burden to Fran, as a mockery of her daughter. She always felt strange at get-togethers, as if it wasn't fair that she was there and Hannah wasn't. The reason why she reads so much is that she isolated herself during gatherings. After the heartfelt confession, she thanks him for taking her to his party and goes back to the motorhome. The next day, Matt teaches her to drive again and she manages to move the car a few meters. She's so happy that she hugs and kisses Matt on impulse. When she realizes what she did, she gets awkward and embarrassed. Matt isn't any better. They find excuses to go back home and the riding back is silent. When they arrive back, Fran is waiting outside so Matt caresses Daphne before he leaves. Daphne seems happy and Fran is glad. They sit together to talk and Fran tells her that she wants her to stay there with Matt. Daphne refuses. She would never let Fran drive alone, not after she had an accident. Fran is upset with Daphne because she keeps sabotaging herself and doesn't want her to do that. She wants Daphne to be happy, and if she goes with Fran, she will regret leaving Matt behind. Daphne loses her patience and snaps that she wants to go with Fran because she feels like she owes her. She finally confesses to Fran that she always felt as if she was a poor replacement for Hannah, and she felt guilty that she was alive and Hannah wasn't. Fran is appalled because she never thought Daphne felt like that. For her, she was a blessing, not a replacement for Hannah, but another daughter to love. She never saw Daphne as a burden or wished she had been in Hannah's place. She loves Daphne. They start crying when Fran says that for her and Frederick, Daphne was a blessing. She was the one that made them get up every day and fight to overcome their grief. Daphne doesn't see herself like that. She's insecure and anxious and it shows in the way she keeps people at arm's length. Fran finally understands where it comes from. With that in mind, she doesn't want Daphne to waste her chance at love. Daphne is tired of Fran always pushing her to do something she doesn't want and tells her the truth. That Matt and she aren't dating, that she pretended to keep Fran in the city for a while longer. Fran is rightfully upset, not because of the lie, but because she feels as if Daphne is losing herself. She's worried that she's going to end up alone after she's gone and she's too stubborn to see it. Daphne leaves Fran and calls Matt to talk to him. While on the phone, she sees the motorhome passing her and she desperately tries to stop Fran, but it's too late. She can't believe Fran would do that to her. Matt comes to her rescue and she explains what happened to him. He calls the cops to keep an eye on Fran and find out where she is. Meanwhile, Daphne can stay with him until Fran comes back. He offers her his bed and comforts her, telling her that they are going to find Fran and she will be fine. It's hard to believe it, but there's nothing she can do. When she's alone in his bedroom, she notices the Pride and Prejudice book he's reading and it makes her slightly better. The following day, Matt leaves her some breakfast with a cute note. Daphne swoons at his kindness. Brittany arrives at the place to take her shopping since all her clothes were in the motorhome. At first, she's reluctant because she doesn't have any money, but Brittany insists. They spend the whole day shopping and having fun. Daphne changes her hair and buys new clothes and accessories. It's everything she needed to get her mind off of Fran and her sadness. Brittany is a great company and she understands Daphne to a certain point. Matt and she went through some difficult times with their sick mother, so she knows what it is like. At the end of the day, Daphne is glad she went out with Brittany. Meanwhile, Fran is at a gas station and hears that the weather in the mountains is going to be bad, so she should be careful. She's conflicted about continuing or going back for Daphne. Back to Daphne, she's at Matt's home waiting for a pizza to arrive when someone knocks on the door. Matt goes to answer and he's shocked when he sees who is there. It's his father. Matt's usually warm and kind expression shifts to a cold one. He tells his father to leave him and Brittany alone, that he doesn't want to talk to him, and his father hurriedly hands him his card. He pleads for Matt to hear him out, that he wants to get to know him and Brittany, and he's sorry for his actions in the past. Matt doesn't care. He closes the door in his face and feels angry. Daphne hears everything and comforts him. While Matt badmouths his father, she suggests he hears him out and gives him a chance. She tells him that she wished she could see her father again. He shouldn't take it for granted. It's hard for him, but Matt hears what she's saying. He says he's going to meet his father if she agrees to go with him. They go to a restaurant to meet his father, Cal. He's trying to act normal and it bothers Matt a lot. He dislikes his father for everything he made his mother go through, and he doesn't believe for a second that he changed. Cal tells Matt that he regrets the way he acted and he knows he's a terrible father. He tried to contact them, but their mother didn't want him in their life. Back when Matt was a kid, Cal drank a lot while his mother worked to keep food on the table. Then, when their mother left, Cal never once tried to get in touch with them. That's what hurts Matt the most, that he threw them away like trash. Not only that, but he broke his mother's heart. Cal admits that when he found out his ex was sick, he asked for her forgiveness and she gave it to him. It's not enough for Matt, though, because he feels as if his father only did that to have a clean conscience. When Cal asks if his mother left them something, Matt gets angrier and scoffs. He says that he knew Cal wanted something when he appeared. He grabs Daphne and they leave in a huff. Back at his place, he tells Daphne what happened the day his mother decided to leave Cal. She was heavily pregnant with Brittany and they lived far from the city. She got into early labor and there was no one there to help her except Matt. He had to take his bike all the way to the city to call an ambulance for his mother. In the meantime, his father was getting drunk and playing games. After his mother took them, he never showed up looking for them. He didn't even know Brittany. Matt's tearful when he remembers his bad memories and Daphne hugs him tight. Matt thanks her for hearing him out and before they can kiss again, his phone rings. It's the police. They found Fran, but she is in the hospital again. They quickly go to the hospital and Daphne is relieved to see Fran alive. She hugs her and Fran tells her that she was preventing Daphne from making a mistake by leaving. She also finished what she set out to do, which was to help Daphne find someone to love. Daphne is still afraid of getting closer to anyone and losing them, but Fran thinks she should at least try. Matt is there waiting for Daphne and she tells him that she's going away with Fran. She thanks him for helping her and taking care of her when she needed it, but their journey reached an end. They hug for one last time and Matt leaves. When he gets home, he's surprised to see Cal there. He's looking through his mother's photo albums from when they were kids. Matt immediately gets angry because he messed with his mother's things, but there's a reason for Cal to do that. He tells Matt that he loved his mother, and he only realized how much when he lost her. He says that he wrote letters to them, for birthdays and holidays, but he never dared to send them. Mainly because he promised his ex-wife that he wouldn't bother them again. When he visited Matt's mother, he gave her the letters. Matt sees that he's telling the truth and starts going through the letters. He starts crying as he sees all the birthday cards, and Cal tells him to read all of them and leaves. The next day, Cal meets Brittany and his grandchildren. It's an emotional moment for Matt. He decided to let go of his bitterness and fear of abandonment to give Cal a second chance. To make the day even better, Daphne appears to show Matt her new driver's license and say goodbye. She hangs out with his family, playing games and having fun. And Matt's brother-in-law tells him to open his heart to new possibilities. He doesn't need to worry about Brittany or his mother anymore. Matt is thoughtful and watching Daphne interacting with his family warms his heart. Later on, they are alone in his swing drinking Daphne's lemonade. She tells Matt that she and Hannah used to sell lemonade and they tried many recipes to make it perfect. No one ever found out what Daphne's secret ingredient was, and Hannah told her that the man who knows it is going to be the love of her life. She apologizes to him for the mess of the fake relationship, but he brushes her off. Before she leaves for good, they kiss again, this time with nothing to excuse their feelings. Daphne explains that Fran doesn't have much time left and she wants to spend it with her. That's why she's leaving. Matt is sad, but he understands her. The next day, Daphne packs Fran's bag so they can leave. She doesn't look well and she's emotional. Daphne hugs her tightly, holding onto her as if she were her lifeline. After Daphne leaves, Matt can't stop thinking about her. He finishes reading Pride and Prejudice and he can't let go of the fact that he never confessed his feelings for her. He has to do it, otherwise, he's going to regret it for the rest of his life. He goes after Daphne on a long trip. Days later, he finds her walking with a book, and she's shocked when she sees him. Matt doesn't even give her time to say anything. Quoting Mr. Darcy's confession to Elizabeth Bennet, he tells Daphne he loves her. Daphne is emotional and they finally kiss again. Before the movie ends, Matt tells Daphne the secret ingredient of her lemonade, and him knowing it is the proof she needed that they are perfect for each other, just like Hannah promised they would be.